Hello, hi, and welcome. If you are new here, my name is Sarah, and this is Wicked Reading. So today I'm going to start a themed vlog, and for this vlog, I decided to go with a theme that for whatever reason, I have been very drawn to lately, and I don't think that I've ever really explored this subgenre of horror in books. I've watched it a lot in movies, but not so much in books, and that is tech horror. So in this vlog, I'm going to be reading at least 3 books that have tech horror. I may be able to squeeze in a 4th one, but I know for sure I can get to 3. So I'll share with you guys the 3 books. I'm not going to go deep into the synopsis. I'll give a better synopsis once I start reading each of these books, but I'm really excited. I don't know why I've been drawn to it lately. I think because a few books have recently released that really have me intrigued. And I've liked tech horror in movies, certain ones. I feel like I typically like a little bit more older tech horror versus AI tech horror. Like the new AI horror movies that are coming out, I have like zero interest in, honestly. Like Afraid, I believe that's what it's called, that just came out. It's kind of the AI smart home horror movie, but I've heard it's not very horror, it's very thriller-y. I don't know, but no interest in seeing that. I had zero interest in seeing Megan, even though I hear good things about it, just does not appeal to me. So like the AI robot stuff, I'm not typically interested in, although I did really enjoy the remake of Child's Play, where Chucky is like kind of more robot. I did like that one, although I didn't like it as much as I like the original Child's Play, original Chucky. I love the original Chucky, but I did like that for what it was and was pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed some of the kills in there. But for the most part, I typically prefer kind of older tech horror, like the cursed VHS tapes, the like Ring, that kind of era. Earlier 2000s tech is more so where I like. But the books I have picked out kind of span a little bit of an array, and I'm excited. So the books that I plan to read are 1, Teleport-asm by Joshua Macmillan. All I really know about this is it has to do with a VHS tape that when people watch it, the viewer experiences very extreme euphoria and teleports. And that's all I know going into it. It is a little bit on the shorter side. It's part of the Shortwave Killer VHS series. So these are kind of described as goosebumps for adults, but I'm really excited about this one. I think it might tie in kind of like drugs and addiction. A very, very recent release that also very much inspired me doing this themed vlog is Such Lovely Skin by Tatiana Sholdy Bonet, I want to say. That might be wrong. I will know as soon as I start reading this because I'm going to actually listen to the audiobook. So I'll get confirmation on how to say the author's name later, but this has to do with video games. So this one's more on the modern side, but it's not AI still. It has to do with a Twitch streamer who I believe gets haunted or cursed by some type of entity during a video game. So it's like the Twitch streamer video game side of tech, which I'm much more curious about. This is technically a YA book, but I'm really excited about it. I love this cover. This cover is stunning. So I can't wait to read this. And then lastly, I will definitely read Nefando by Monica Ojeda. I don't really know what this is about. I think we follow 4 different people who start playing a computer game. So kind of also video game, but computer game where it's like, I don't know, I think it might be like alternate reality video game, and we follow 4 characters and the effects that it has on them. So I don't really know what to expect with this one, honestly. It's a little bit different, but it does self-describe itself as a techno horror. So I'm really excited to get to this, mostly because I've been dying to read another book by Monica Ojeda. I am obsessed with Jawbone by her. That's one of my favorite books ever. It's my favorite book that I read in 2022, and it's another shorter one. I think it's just over 160 pages. It's 164 pages, and it does have a translator's note. This is actually my book pick for my horror bingo card, so it'll be fun to get one of those spots filled out as well. And actually, speaking about that, I could technically use Such Lovely Skin for publish in 2024 because this was recently published and I'm going to read it. It wasn't technically my planned book, but I did say I was kind of keeping that spot open to just see what I end up reading, so I might end up sneaking that one on the bingo board as well. But these are my for sure planned books. I may may be able to get to a fourth book that is a little bit more in the AI territory and actually is reminiscent of the movie Afraid, but in a different way. So we'll see. Maybe you can guess what book that is. Whether or not I get to it, we'll see. But there may or may not be a fourth book, and I'm super excited to get into it and see how I feel about tech horror. Reading update time. I am on page 83, just over 50% of the way into Teleport-asm by Joshua Milliken. And I'm having mixed feelings. I'm enjoying it and I like it, but I'm not loving it. I think what is holding me back is maybe the formatting of the book. So we don't follow the same characters throughout the whole book. We open the book with, I want to say this group of 4 friends, and they're like smoking weed, whatever, in someone's basement. And the one friend, Lars, brings up that his uncle has this tape that when you watch it, it makes you teleport and it's the best high he's ever had, blah, 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 blah. So then the 4 friends decide to go to Lars's uncle's house to check out this tape and see what all the hype's about. So that's how we open up the book. We do eventually revisit those characters in a couple other chapters. I think maybe like 3 chapters they've been part of. So they're kind of like our main group, but we're not fully following them either. We jump back and forth in time as well. So the book opens up in 2012. And then each chapter after that is a different year. So the chapter after that is from 2002. And then there's another chapter from 2014. And then the next chapter is 2015. And you get the idea. And for most of the chapters, we end up being introduced to different characters and their experience / story that has to do also with this tape and with teleportation. And pretty much we just get blips into all these people somehow being involved in teleportasm. So I am having like mixed feelings because some of the moments I really enjoyed, some moments I didn't necessarily care as much about. And I think my biggest issue is that because I'm such a character-driven story, I don't have a character I can really latch on to. So like it's something I have to get used to because just my reading style, my reading taste, I like to have a character to get to know very deep and very well, and that's just not what the story is. It's just a different type of story. So while we do get a little better taste and a little better idea of our 4 mostly main characters, it still jumps around quite a bit. Now I will say, the chapter that I just read, chapter 8, it's called One Happy Family. This chapter I loved. I loved this chapter. It was so weird and I loved this chapter so much. This was like probably so far my favorite moment of the book was this chapter. But that's the thing, just because of the format and because of the style of the book, you're gonna really like some moments and not as much like other moments, because that's just kind of the name of the game with it. It's almost like a short story collection, but all the short stories are feeding off of the same idea. Yeah, I am enjoying it mostly. Like I said, the last chapter, loved the last chapter, and I'm curious to see where the rest of it goes. I do think this style is only palatable for me in a short story, like in a novella type of way. Like if a full novel was written like this, I don't think I would like it. It's just a little bit too whiplashy, but the tone of the story is definitely much more kind of campy and goofy in a lot of ways. It's just it's a little bit more of a zany book than I typically go for, but it's also not cringy at the same time, which I appreciate. But there is quite a bit of pop culture references, and there's a lot of talk about digitizing, which is interesting. I've never heard it referred to as that, but digitizing is a thing in this book. And yeah, so I don't know. Those are my thoughts, I guess. Enjoying it for the most part. It's really just like a fun time, silly time type of book. There have been some pretty wicked body horror moments. It's not super gory or anything, but well, specifically the last chapter that I keep talking about, the last chapter definitely had the most wicked scene thus far. But yeah, so there's moments of pretty decent body horror and body gore going on. But yeah, so there's that. I don't know what it's feeling like right now. Maybe like a 3.5, 4-star. I still got half the book to go, but if this ended up being a 4-star, it's not like the strongest 4-star for me, but considering the type of story this is, again, because it's a little bit more zany, a little bit more silly, goofy, I am trying to consider it in that lane versus comparing it to my literary horrors, my like written masterpieces. I'm trying to not compare it to different types of works because it's just, this book doesn't compare to those for me. So I'm trying to rate it as it is, as the type of story it is, rather than trying to compare it to all of the other books I've ever read. So yeah, it's kind of feeling like a 3.5, 4-star so far. Specifically that last chapter, which I know I keep bringing up, but like that last chapter alone is like 5 stars. I loved that last chapter. But we'll see what else it does. If it has more chapters that I feel that strongly about, hey, maybe it'll be a 4, 4.5. We'll see. But I'm going to keep reading, mostly enjoying it right now. It's just very different style for me. That's my thoughts so far. I will probably just finish it and give you guys my final thoughts. So we'll see how much they change. I have officially finished Teleport-asm by Josh Milliken, and I ended up really, really, really enjoying this. I just had so much fun. So towards the last half, we did end up catching up more with the friend group that we initially opened the story with. So I did feel more connected than I did in the beginning, and we had some of our stories kind of overlapping and some of the timelines overlapping, and I really, really enjoyed those aspects. There were definitely a few more moments where I was just like, holy shit, what is going on? And it just had so many different things going on that I feel like made every chapter feel fresh and new and exciting. So I never really knew what each chapter was going to bring, but it brought some bizarre moments, some really great imagery, some really gross imagery. It had a lot going on, and I just really enjoyed it. I really like the tone of the story. It is on the slightly like goofier side than I typically read, but I had a lot of fun with it. I liked that it like revolves around a VHS tape. There's just something about physical media and older technology that I just prefer, I think. And I just really liked that aspect to it. And I just found myself equally laughing while being disturbed, while having like holy shit moments because of certain things that were being revealed or certain connections that were kind of being made throughout the story. But overall, I ended up having such a good time with this. So much fun. The last chapter gets absolutely wild and bizarre, and I loved it. And yeah, I had a good time. I don't know what else to say. I had a really good time with it. Despite it not being like my #1 choice of format or tone or length or focus, I guess, like despite this being so far out of my typical 5-star read, my typical love, love, love reads, this is going to get 5 stars. This is going to get 5 stars because there's nothing I would change about it. I think what this book was doing and set out to do, it did exactly what it set out to do. I had so much fun reading it, and it's just a really nice breath of fresh air, a very unique horror while still having some kind of horror tropes in there, and definitely some references to certain movies and aspects of horror. It still had that, but it was still its own thing at the same time. So I really had a good time. Now, one thing I will say, and this isn't a critique, but it's just different than what I expected. The book did not really have like a theme or conversation around addiction per se. I did think it was going to tackle addiction a little bit more, but no, it really doesn't. And honestly, in this book, doing drugs is pretty cool. So I guess if you don't if you're not into that, then don't pick this up. It's not saying like do drugs. Drugs are super cool. But with the people we're following, we're not getting into like super deep philosophical conversations around addiction. We do see some consequences of the addiction that I found really interesting, and I really liked that consequence of addiction that was in this story, but it's not like a super deep thing where we're really getting into it and having a full-blown conversation around addiction. I did think it would be a little bit more serious with that, but it's not, but it's still good. So not a bad thing, but just different than what I initially expected. So, but yeah, anyways, still, it's a 5-star. I really, really enjoyed this, had a great time with it. And yeah, so there's that. Really great update for that. And I have another update because I did start Such Lovely Skin by Tatiana Shalode-Benet. This audiobook is available on Spotify Premium. So if you have Spotify Premium and you have hours for the month, this is on there. And it's a pretty quick audiobook. So let me actually check. I am... let's see, already 53% into this book. I technically started it yesterday and I've listened to 53% so far. And honestly, so far, most of the book is kind of the synopsis. Like, nothing has happened that I didn't necessarily expect, which isn't a bad thing. But in this book, we follow our main character, Vivian, and she is this high school senior, and she is about to restart her Twitch stream after her family experienced very traumatic loss. Her little sister actually died over the summer, in which Vivian highly blames herself for it, and she's racked with guilt over it. But she wants to get back to her Twitch streaming that she does and play video games. She's a horror gamer, so she's super into it. She decides to do a quick little run through one of the video games that she plans to stream with next. And while she's doing this run through, an NPC in the video game asks her to tell them her biggest, darkest, deepest secret. And she does. And she decides to type to this NPC exactly what happened with her sister that we don't really know exact details of yet. And she logs off, whatever. And then all of a sudden, she is experiencing very bizarre things. Her clothes are going missing and then reappearing. She's finding messages on her phone that were sent from her, but she never sent them. So she just starts experiencing very strange things. And it does say in the synopsis that she ends up figuring out that she has an evil doppelganger that is pretty much trying to ruin her life. So honestly, that's pretty much what this story has been the whole time, but I'm really enjoying it. I really like the writing. I really like the main character. I really like the video game aspect to it and the Twitch streaming aspect. I mean, talk about like such a different jump in technology between these two. It is full-blown modern Twitch streamer, the whole nine. So it's very modern, and I'm just really enjoying it. I like the way that the story is given. I like that because we already know that it's an evil doppelganger because of the synopsis. I do feel like it tells you quite a bit in the synopsis, but you go in knowing that. So I really like that the character didn't spend a lot of time in denial with that, and she's kind of already trying to figure it out and fix it and figure out what she needs to do while this doppelganger is truly messing up her life, which honestly is super terrifying and like effective for me because I just can't imagine being in that situation, because she can't really tell a lot of people what's going on because then they'll call her crazy, and she just has to kind of figure it out. And yeah, it creates a lot of stress in me, but in a good way. Like, it's supposed to be stressful, and it's working on me, and I'm really enjoying that. There's been some really good creepy moments, creepy imagery that I think were very effective, and overall I'm just having a really good time with this. I like the character, I like her backstory, I like her inner thoughts. She's very logical, mature, even though this is I think it's considered YA. It might be considered like new adult since she's a senior in high school, but I just really appreciate that she feels mature and she's making mature decisions, logical decisions as much as she can in this situation. So I'm really liking the progression of the story, and even the secondary characters I'm really enjoying as well. So I'm having a really good time with this. I think that the audiobook narrator is doing a really good job. So it's just overall a very fun, entertaining time so far. I have a good feeling that this is going to be a 4-star book. I don't think it's going to be quite a 5, but I am really enjoying it so far. I do think it's going to be a 4. If it is a 4, I need to buy a copy of this because I love this cover. I know it's super shiny and hard to appreciate because this is actually a copy from the library, but if this ends up being a 4-star, I really want to get a copy for my shelves because I love it. But yeah, that's my update right now. I'm enjoying it. I like the video game thing. I was very cautious. I didn't know how I would feel about the video game aspect because I am not a video gamer. I suck at video games so bad, but I do love watching people play video games. And there was a time in my life where I did watch a good amount of Twitch streamers. I really don't watch much anymore because I'm like so caught up in YouTube and stuff right now. But I do really enjoy watching people play video games, specifically horror. Actually, speaking of, one of my favorite Twitch streamers that I watched for a very long time is Granny on Twitch. I don't know if anybody else watches her. She is hilarious and she plays through a lot of horror video games, and I personally find that the most fun to watch. I did watch Among Us a lot when that was like first came out, and that was super, super hot to watch. I would watch Corpse Husband play with people, and I really like Julian Solomita and Chris Malberger, that whole gang of friends. I would watch their streams a lot as well. But yeah, I don't really watch as much anymore, and I don't necessarily love the action of playing video games, but I think because it's video games in the setting of Twitch streaming, I can at least connect to it a little bit more because that is kind of the one way that I do connect with gaming the most. But yeah, so I wasn't sure how I would feel about the video game aspect, but I'm really liking it. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, so far, I'm having a great reading time. So hopefully that stays true because next I'm going to start Nefando. I didn't bring my book with me. It's upstairs, but I will be starting Nefando next by Monica Ojeda. I probably picked like the worst time to do this because the sun is literally setting, but I have some packages that I really want to open with you guys because they're bookish. And I do actually also have a mystery package that I don't think I ordered, but I'm gonna open it with you guys because it feels like it might be a book. Okay, so here's my packages. This top one we'll do first. So this is a pre-order I did through Shortwave Publishing. So it's kind of perfect that I'm opening it for this because it's another book from the Killer VHS series. And since I read the other one in this vlog, it works very perfectly. I really love their packaging. It's almost like an old kind of Blockbuster type of box, I guess. I don't know, I really love it. Oh, I forgot about this one too. So it's not just that book, actually. I also pre-ordered Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy, which is crazy because I've actually had this package for honestly probably like 2 weeks now. It's just been sitting around, and so I definitely got this before it actually came out because it's still actually not even out. This comes out October 15th and I'm opening it October 12th, so I have unknowingly had this for a minute now, so I'm so excited for this. This is not part of their Killer VHS series, but it's just another novella that they're publishing. So excited to read it. Really pumped. And I didn't realize, but it came with a Nat Cassidy signature, which is pretty cool. And then just like a little bookmark for the book. Really cool. I did not realize I was going to get a signature pre-ordering it with them, but that's pretty sick. And then what I knew I was getting is the Killer VHS series. This is number 4, so it's the one after Teleport-asm, and it is Cicada by Tanya Pell. Really love the cover. So this is another novella, obviously, and in this one we follow a main character who is going to the screening of a movie about a killer cicada when she realizes she is starring in the sequel. So I think it has a killer cicada in it. I'm really excited for it. This would work really good for a creepy crawly prompt on the horror bingo card if you still need a book. This works. Oh my god, and then there's more stuff in the box. We actually got googly eyes themselves to go with like the theme of Rest Stop, which is hilarious because there's a bunch of like googly eyes on the book. These were at the bottom, so I didn't even notice them, but we got actual googly eyes. That's so funny. But there's my Shortwave Publishing books, and then I have this package, which is from Twisted Retreat. So I switched my subscription. I used to get like the full box, but I switched it to be the book only. I just find I don't need things. I don't need things anymore, so I just switched to the book only because Twisted Retreat is one of the not one of the only, but one of the very few services that do special editions for horror books. I do know what the book will be. I'm really excited. I think this is the September book, and I'm really excited to see their design because they do some really cool ones. They do mostly do smaller published and more indie published books. This is the most well-known book that I feel like they've done, the most like popular book I feel like they've ever done. Oh, okay. Ooh, I like the edges. Okay, it's wrapped in plastic, so hold on. Now, I do already own 2 copies of this book, but I just couldn't help myself. I really wanted to see what the Twisted Retreat version would be like. And so far, it's pretty freaking cool. They did The Eyes Are the Best Part, and I really like the cover. I like that they kind of stuck with the original cover's color, and almost like this pattern there is very much kind of like inspired by the original cover, so I like that. The edges I really like with a bunch of eyeballs. I really like the back of the dust jacket. And let's see what the rest looks like. Ooh. Ooh, I really like the naked cover. The naked cover almost looks kind of like sci-fi-esque, but I really like that naked cover actually a lot. And here's the back. There's a lot of red foiling, and the dust jacket is reversible. And here's the reverse side. It's like red. The reverse side's cool, but I'll probably just keep it as it is for now because I hate like trying to change like the folding pattern, honestly. But I do like that they went for like a different color scheme on the opposite side. And then the end pages are pretty cool as well. Really like the end pages. Oh, back's different. I like the back a lot. Very cool. I actually really like that end page. And then it is signed, but I think it's a digital signature. I can't really tell, but it is signed. So, I really like the naked cover a lot, actually. I think that's really cool. I've never seen anything quite like this. Yeah, it makes me feel like sci-fi-y, but very unique. I like it. I'm excited. And then I'm not totally sure what this is, but we're going to open it and find out. I don't know if I pre-ordered something I forgot about. Hopefully I didn't pre-order Cicada on Amazon as well. Although this is heavier than that would be. Oh my goodness. Oh, hold on. It's a gift. I'm trying to go through the little gift receipts. Okay, so this is from one of my amazing supporters and patrons, Carolina. She said, I discovered Rachel Harrison through your channel and wanted to get you her newest release. You are so kind, and I hope you enjoy this gift. And then she also sent another one. It says, I got so excited to see Sword of Kaigen on your wish list. This is a book I've also been wanting to read. Let's buggy read it together. You're so awesome. Enjoy. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Carolina. Oh, I'm so excited. So she got me So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I cannot wait to read this. I love Rachel Harrison's writing so much. My favorite one from her is Such Sharp Teeth. Love that book so much. It's my favorite. I'm so excited to read this. This is a vampire book by her. That's really all I know. That's all I need to know. I can't wait. And then, oh my goodness, a nice chunky fantasy. She also got me The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. I'm so excited to read this too. I hear literally amazing things. I don't really know what it's about, if I'm being totally honest. I just know it's a fantasy that everybody raves about. It's a standalone fantasy. It's not like a series, but I've heard literally nothing but amazing things, and absolutely, let's buggy read this. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh. So thank you so much, Carolina. I'm so excited to add these to my shelves. I've been like wanting to dive into a chunky fantasy as well, and like one that's much more kind of like higher fantasy where like there might be a romance in here, I don't know, but it kind of is like side thing if anything. But I've been wanting to get into a chunky fantasy, so this is like perfect. We'll definitely have to buggy read it. I can't wait. Thank you so much. So here's all my new books. I'm so excited for them. Oh my goodness. Even though like The Eyes Are the Best Part, I've already read it. I've read it twice actually, so I'm not even actually reading it. It's just pretty much a trophy book at this point, but I cannot wait to read the other ones. I'm so excited. Yay! I feel like I've been doing all of my reading updates from my couch in this vlog for whatever reason, but here I am again with another reading update. So I did end up finishing Such Lovely Skin by Tatiana Chalote Bonnet. Now, I will say I didn't give a reading update previous to this because I just didn't have much more to say. It was very much a lot of the same thoughts and feelings. I enjoyed the main character and I enjoyed the story, but I will say you don't really get much more than what you expect. You pretty much get what you expect from the synopsis, and yeah, it just like doesn't go too much further than that. There's like a couple of other little things, a couple nuanced things thrown in there as well, but yeah, it was very much expected, but at the same time, in saying that, it was still a unique story. So take what you will with that. Overall, I did enjoy it. I think it was a fun listen, and I think the main points of the story will stick with me, but I do feel like a lot of the story will fade away in a lot of ways, but I did like it. But I guess it just also didn't blow me away. So I'm kind of between a 3.5 and a 4-star at the moment. It's very much one of those two. And with either of those ratings, I really enjoyed it and I do recommend it. My main critique really is just that it didn't do much more than I kind of figured it would with the synopsis. So I guess it would be more so fair to give it a 4 because I did really enjoy it. And I don't have like much negative criticism other than that to say about it. So I think I'm gonna go with a 4-star, but it's like a 3.5, 4-star. That being said, since I finished that, I decided to start, let me pull it up, William by Mason Coyle. So this was the book that I was talking about that I thought I might try to get to, and I think I can make it work in the time allotted for this vlog. So I did end up starting it. I'm already 29% of the way into it. It is a very quick book. The audiobook is 5 hours and I'm listening to it on 1.7 times speed. So going into this, the premise I knew about it is that we are following our main character, this gentleman who, his name's Henry, and he has agoraphobia, and he is pretty much designing some type of AI, some type of tech project he is working on while he is at home with his pregnant wife. And one day they have visitors and he invites them to come meet his creation. And that's really all I knew going into it. I must say, so far, this book is so strange, and not strange in the way, like, not that strange things are happening, but there is just something so unsettling and so subtly uncanny happening. I don't really know what to make of the story yet. I just feel like there's a lot going on that we don't know about, and yeah, I'm just like on edge listening to it. There's weird stuff going on, and I feel like the characters aren't who they say they are, or the story, there's just like something way darker going on, or just there's something up, and I have no idea what it is yet, but that's how I'm feeling so far. The story is extremely unsettling and I'm super curious where it's going to go. It does deal with kind of like AI robots in a way, where that is like the project he's working on, but I feel like it's going to just go off the wall and I don't know what to expect, but it does deal with kind of like AI robotics in a way. So yeah, don't really know how to pinpoint how I'm feeling about it yet in terms of how much I'm enjoying it. It's going to kind of depend on where the story goes and what the payoff of it is. But yeah, so far just extremely unsettling and very subtly weird. And yeah, again, there's definitely something else going on that we don't know yet. So I'm listening to that on audiobook as well on Spotify. Now, also, I have read 1 chapter so far of Nafando by Monica Ojeda. I'm going to read what this is about because I am confused a little bit. I've only technically read 8 pages, but I was a little confused on what the synopsis was. I couldn't really remember. And I think maybe reading it, I might be able to hopefully get more grounding in this book, but let's see. It says, 6 young artists share an apartment in Barcelona. Kiki Ortega, a researcher writing a pornographic novel. Ivan Herrera, a writer whose prose reveals a deeply conflicted relationship with his body. 3 siblings, Irene, Emilio, and Cecilia, who quietly search for ways to transcend their abuse as children. And El Cuco Martinez, a video game designer whose creations push beneath the substrate of the digital world. All of them are connected in different ways to Nefando, a controversial cult video game whose purpose remains a mystery. In the parallel reality of the game, players found relief from the pain of past trauma and present shame, but also a frighteningly elastic sense of self and ethics. Is Nefando an escape for horror enthusiasts, a challenge to players' morals, or a poetic exercise? What happens in a virtual world that admits every taboo? Okay, and then it just says, unsparing, addictive, and perverse, Nefando takes us to the darkest corners of the web, revealing the inevitable entanglement of digital and physical worlds and of technology and horror. Okay, so, all right, the first chapter was us pretty much meeting one of the characters, Kiki. So we pretty much meet Kiki Ortega, but it is very disorienting already. And I'm a little bit nervous that, not that I'm not going to like it, but that I don't know if I have the mental capacity right now to dive into this, because I can tell already it's extremely literary, which I did expect. But I guess I didn't realize how much my brain was not prepared for a literary story right now. You know, you just sometimes have those days where you just need like a fluffy, entertaining story, and other days where you can dive into it like a deep analytical story and really have, you know, deep thoughts and all of that. And I don't know that I'm in that mindset currently. So here's the deal. I'm going to make a deal with you guys. I'm going to read a few more chapters. And if I still feel like I'm not able to connect with the text like this text deserves to be connected to, I will soft DNF it. I do really, really like the writing so far, but I already feel like I'm not giving it the mind space that it needs and deserves, which makes sense because Jawbone by Monica Ojeda was very much the same, where it's very easy to have the story just kind of go over your head. And I don't want this to go over my head. I want to be able to sink my teeth into it. I want to be annotating it. I want to be in a mindset where I can take stuff from the story and I can have a more of an analytical approach to it, okay? More of a critical reader lens. And I don't know that how I'm feeling right now will be good for a critical reader type of lens. I've been dealing with being sick, kind of, just a lot of fatigue, not feeling really good. I feel like it's the change of seasons and it just kind of happens around this time for me. And I have been just exhausted all the time, just dizzy and just not fully engaged at the moment with like anything. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit struggling, and I don't want to do this book dirty by forcing myself through it when I know I'm not in the space to do it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. So I am going to give it a little bit longer and read a few more chapters, but I may have to not finish this book for this vlog, and I'm so sorry because yes, I did already film the intro and I did promise I was going to read this one, but I want to do it justice. I'm not giving up on it yet, but it's not feeling too great right now, I will be honest. So I'm going to give it a little bit longer and see if I can get out of my rut, out of my little bit of a slump, and see if I can pull through for this. And I will update you guys on how this goes. But nonetheless, I still have to finish William. I will absolutely finish William. I'm really excited to continue to listen to William because I need to know what's going on. Okay, so those are my reading updates. I will definitely be back with final thoughts for William. I'm just gonna wait for final thoughts because I feel like I'm not going to have many thoughts outside of what I'm already feeling with William until everything comes to light, until the whole story is finally unfolded for us. I feel like it's just one of those books. And along with that, I will see where I am with updates on Nefando. So that's it for now. So it is a few days later and I have some reading updates. So I did finish William by Mason Coyle and I still ended up really enjoying it. I will say I did end up realizing where it was gonna go. I did end up seeing the twist, but I don't think that that necessarily took away from it. I do think it was still a very fun time, a very entertaining time, and I liked it more than I expected for kind of like an AI robot twist on the tech horror. I will say there's like some killing scenes and I found them to be a little bit too much of like fade to black moments. I would have preferred a little bit more detail in those moments because it could have been very easy to overlook what had even happened, the fact that people died in certain moments because it was just kind of so quick. Like the lead up was nice and slow, but then it just kind of like faded out. So I would have preferred maybe a little bit more detail, less fade to black in like the actual death moments, but nonetheless, I still enjoyed it. I think overall it was a very entertaining audiobook and I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I think it was a fun time. I recommend it for a nice, quick, entertaining, fun read. And yeah, so that's William. I liked it more than I thought I would. I have seen really, really great reviews on it on Instagram specifically. I haven't seen too many people on BookTube reading it as much, but honestly, I've been a little bit disconnected from YouTube and BookTube lately. I just haven't been feeling good, so I've been kind of like doing a little bit of a social media cleanse in a way. But anyways, I've seen a lot of really good reviews on it on Instagram. Now that being said, I did read more of Nefando by Monica Ojeda. I am on page, let's see, 37, and I am going to soft DNF this for now. I do not want to give you guys the wrong impression. The writing of this is stunning. Every chapter is super, super interesting, very different, very unique in the sense that each chapter has a different formatting style, a different approach to it, and I love that about Monica Ojeda's writing. Now, I am just not currently in the headspace to grasp this book, if I'm being so honest. What I have read so far has been very, very well written, stunning. I really like her writing style. There are a lot more pop culture references in this one that I don't get versus Jawbone. There were some pop culture references in Jawbone, but I did know most of those. There's a lot more in here that I don't necessarily know that I have to like Google. So that's another reason that I'm just like not in the mode to have to kind of research while I'm reading. But it is interesting and we are following a group of people. I haven't even been introduced to all of the characters yet, but definitely every character is going to have some very gray morality. They're very flawed characters, but nonetheless, I am excited to eventually pick this back up. I will definitely pick this back up, just not currently. I'm just not in the current headspace to read this. So I am soft DNFing it, but it has been very, very well written so far, and I'm very curious to eventually pick it back up. So that is where I'm going to leave this vlog. I did still end up reading 3 books, just not the 3 books I initially thought I was going to read, but I did try 4 books at least. But I did get a 5-star out of this vlog, which is super exciting because it's been a little while since I had a 5-star, especially for horror. It's been very long since I've had a 5-star for horror specifically, so it's super exciting. And I really didn't expect that to be the 5-star book in this vlog, but there you have it. And then Such Lovely Skin. I don't know if I finalized my rating with you guys, but I will give it 4 stars for Such Lovely Skin. And then of course, William, I'm going to give 3.5 stars. So really successful vlog. anyways, if I do say so myself. And I had a lot of fun exploring this subgenre. I do feel like there's going to be quite a few more releases in this subgenre category. I feel like there's been quite a wave of AI tech kind of stuff going on lately, so I won't be surprised to see a lot more new releases in this tech horror category. But that is going to be everything for today's video. If you made it to this point in the video, leave me a television emoji in the comments down below. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them. As always, thank you so much for spending some of your time with me while I sit down and talk about books. If you haven't yet, please give the video a like, subscribe for future content, turn on the bell notification, all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!